It's a really big achievement to be involved in a piece of technology of this capability. There's been a fair bit of pride and achievement, but not just by the individuals, but by the group collectively here at Bordertown. The credit for that has to go back onto Got Technology for being innovative enough to develop a system that would process whole carcasses of lamb into various components with the accuracy and precision that this can deliver.
Scott Technology has been automating processes for over 40 years now. We've taken that substantial history and commenced automating meat processing systems. And in partnership with JBS and Meat and Livestock Australia, we've developed the world's first lamb X-ray primal and middle system.
We could see benefits in there in increasing yield, which would create revenue, would reduce some labour costs. We've got less hands touching lambs now, so it has definitely enhanced our shelf life. There would be benefits to occupational health and safety where we could remove a hell of a lot of risk associated with production.
The main benefit of the X-ray primal machine is all about yield and placement of those cuts. So there is a slight improvement in labour utilisation, but at the end of the day, this equipment really places high value parts of the animal into those high value cuts. And it does that by X-raying every animal as an individual animal and identifying where the 4th and 5th rib are and where that hind quarter cut is. And that's the whole purpose of that X-ray primal machine. At JBS Bordertown, we've also got our middle machine. And that takes the middle section from the primal machine and then further cuts that into really high value cuts. So it generates a rack and a loin, which then enables you to remove a chine bone and do French racks, which are a high customer value product.
Every carcass that cut, you can visually notice the yield increase, mainly on the racks and the loin, and the accuracy of the primal itself, cutting the forerib, forequarters, etc. The racks coming down the line, they're a lot more consistent than what we had. There's always human error involved when it's done by the bandsaw, whereas with the primal machine, you're getting an X-ray of every single carcass, so the cutting accuracy from carcass to carcass is a lot better, noticeably on the racks, the loins and the shoulders.
Since the machine has been put in place, the product flows a lot quicker. It gets through the room at a consistent speed and a consistent product comes through every time. So we don't have long handling of the product, there's no accumulation on the belts. It gets through the room quickly and gets packed and sent out. Good quality product at the end of it.
Independent economic analysis by Greenleaf Enterprises has identified that safety is one of the many benefits that this equipment provides. Although there are not very many bandsaw injuries in the industry, when a bandsaw injury does occur, it is quite severe. People lose fingers or worse, parts of their hand. By putting in this system, it eliminates that from ever being able to happen again in the future.
It's not very often you come to a company where they've put in robotics that improves the safety, the quality and the efficiency. With the primal saw being in the room, it's reduced the amount of injuries we have. Everybody feels more confident and everybody's going home feeling a lot healthier and happier.
What's been really rewarding for me is to see that the benefits that we forecasted at the start of this journey with JBS have been exceeded. We've improved the yield more than we expected. We've improved throughput in the room more than expected. And overall, JBS and Scott's have achieved
responsibility for a lot of people on every day of the week to get them to work and to get them home safely.
MLA, JBS and Scott have now taken the learnings from the success in lamb automation and applied it to beef automation. The structure of the carcass is more complex. The sensing of key points within the carcass is also a bigger challenge for automation and objective measurement of the carcass.
I'm proud to be involved in moving forward in the technology side of the industry. For a long time, the meat processing industry in this country has stood still and been content to do things the way they've done for many years.
It's critical for MLA to be investing across the value chain, particularly in automation. It's about making sure that our beef processing sector and our industry remains globally competitive. Against prices for processing beef in Indonesia and USA and Brazil, we are a high-cost manufacturer. Automation will give us the ability to remain competitive.
So there was a big safety concern regarding the use of the hand circular saw, particularly at the line speeds with which the beef processing plants operate at. The beef rib cutting system is then able to remove that requirement for manual operation using a dangerous hand tool. The system's designed to integrate with the processor's line, so carcasses pass out of the chillers and the graded before passing into the rib cutting room. The rib cutting system will then interrogate the RFID in the hook to determine for that carcass what cut spec needs to be cut. A number of sensors are then used to analyse the carcass to be able to calculate the cut coordinates used by the robot for that particular carcass. The robot will then place 2 cuts across the ribs before they pass out of the system.
Prior to the robot going in, ribs were all cut by hand by labourers. Through that process we have had amputations. I haven't got the rights to injure any one of our employees when they come here for a day's work. They need to go home to their families the same way as they came in every morning. This system alleviates all that employee risk. No one can be in with the robot and no one can get cut by the robot. It maximises the cut every time. If we needed a rib cut at 160 millimetres wide, it cuts every rib at 160 millimetres wide. When you've got 2 operators sawing one after the other and they're doing one side every 17 seconds, they're going to be 160, 140, 150, 160, 140. So the yield is consistent every time, every cut.
So we not only have to deal with carcasses that vary in the range of less than 80 or so kilos to greater than 300 kilos per side, we also have variations in the numbers of ribs, the shapes of the carcasses. Because of that, there is complex sensing involved in the system. We've got a colour camera, 3 3D cameras, but the primary enabler for the system is really the dual energy X-ray system.
Combination of all this technology, basically we find the end of the ribs and from there find the geometry and find the coordinate of those points and basically process those information, send those coordinates to the robot.
Being able to invest in that technology has really solved the issue about the 2 hardest cutting lines on the carcass. It's been one small step in the meat industry, but it's been a